Hello my dear friends, you're in the Military Summary channel, and today we will discuss the situation in the world on the 22nd of August of 2026. Today we have a lot of very interesting updates, so let's start. And first let's talk about the conflict on the territory Ukraine, where the next 48 hours are going to be very important both for Russians and for the Ukrainians. Probably the next 48 hours are going to be the most important 48 hours, especially for Ukraine. The thing is that on the 24th of August of 2026, the next Monday, Ukraine celebrates the Independence Day. So you know that every single person probably in the world celebrates the Independence Day, and this is a very important holiday, especially when you have a conflict on your own territory. So which means that this is going to be not just another Independence Day, this is going to be something where the President of Ukraine, Zelensky, would try to get a media victory, where he would try to show that indeed the Ukrainians managed to save independence and Ukraine itself managed to save independence. But he knows for sure that it is going to be very difficult to do, because the Russians these days attack the territory of Ukraine almost every single day using missiles and drones. The Russians use dozens of missiles and hundreds of drones, and these days the Russians attack only the city of Kyiv. And of course, if the Russians continue attacking the territory of Ukraine the same way, most likely the Ukrainians would not be able to have possibilities to celebrate the Independence Day, which will show that this is going to be not an Independence Day, but probably a Dependence Day for the Ukrainian forces and for the Ukrainian side itself. And we believe that the Russians most likely are planning to attack the city of Kyiv, especially when talking about strikes from the Ukrainian side. For example, during the previous 24 hours, the Ukrainians, as a result of attack, destroyed another big mall, another warehouse on the territory of Russia. This is one of the biggest warehouses on the territory of the Russian Federation, more than 155,000 square meters, a very important logistic hub. Civilian object of the civilian infrastructure was wiped out by the Ukrainians, so which means that Russians will continue retaliation every single day. But Zelensky is trying to find a solution how to secure the Independence Day, so that is why, and the only possible solution for the Ukrainian side, of course, is not PAC-3 interceptors, because currently nobody in the world has possibilities or capabilities to provide PAC-3 systems to the Ukrainian side. So that is why Zelensky decided to use tactics that always works for Ukraine. We are talking about the human shield. For example, yesterday, according to information we have, the special envoy Keith Kellogg, former special envoy Keith Kellogg, arrived in Ukraine, and according to information we have, he is going to have a breakfast tomorrow in Kyiv on Sunday, and 2 US senators will participate. So as you can, Zelensky is trying to call as many as possible leaders of the Western countries, senators, congressmen, leaders, prime ministers, ministers of foreign affairs, leaders, councillors, and many other different people from the Western countries. He's calling them in Ukraine with the purpose to create a human shield. And Zelensky and Ukraine's authorities believe that if there are lots of people from the Western countries, the Russians will not attack the city of Kyiv, and he will be able to show the Ukrainians that there is an Independence Day. But obviously a human shield, the existence of the human shield means some dependence. For example, according to information we have, the German foreign minister arrived in Kyiv today on Saturday, 22nd of August of 2026. He is meeting with the Ukrainian foreign minister, so he's going to stay probably in Ukraine for tomorrow, for the 23rd of August of 2026. So Zelensky would try to keep as many as possible foreign leaders, especially on the territory of the capital Ukraine, just with one purpose, to create the situation when the Russians will see no chances to attack the capital of Ukraine. But there is another important thing, and we believe that most likely, and according to the current situation along the line of combat contact, according to long-range strikes carried out both by Russians and by the Ukrainian side, we believe that the Ukrainians may call the Western leaders in Kyiv for Sunday and Monday of the 24th of August of 2026 2026 when Ukraine celebrates the Independence Day, and he will use this human shield not just to protect Ukraine against Russian attacks, but he may use this human shield also to attack deep inside of the territory of Russia. Ukrainians, and this is going to be a very dangerous side from the step from the president of Ukraine, Zelensky, because if he attacks Russia, if he attacks deep inside of the territory of Russia, or the capital of the Russian Federation, the city of Moscow, or the city of St. Petersburg, with hundreds or thousands of drones, and if he damages facilities or something like this, of course the Russians will have no other option to retaliate, and the Russians may strike back during the 24th of August of 2026 when the Western leaders and European leaders are on the territory of the city of Kyiv, and this can lead to unpredictable escalation. So let's wait and see how the things are going to develop. But once again, we are entering a very dangerous period of time, dangerous for European countries, for the world, for Russia. But from the other side, we see that we enter the period of time when Zelensky may get some opportunities how to escalate and how to involve probably even more countries, at least into a media conflict against the Russian Federation. So let's wait and see how the things are going to develop. And meanwhile, the Russians continue attacking the capital of Ukraine, the city of Kyiv. During the previous 48 hours, probably the Russians used a record number of drones and missiles. The massive attack, or the mega strike, started almost 3 days ago between the 19th and the 20th of August of 2026, and that was even not the beginning, because the Russians began attacking the capital of Ukraine a day before, and since probably the 18th of August of 2026, the Russians continue to attack the city of Kyiv, and the Russians don't stop. They use hundreds of drones, dozens of missiles almost every single day, and almost every single day we receive a report about another warehouse destroyed as a result of the Russian attack. For example, during the previous 24 hours, there were at least 2 waves of attack. The first wave of attack took place during the night, and we have this video published between the 21st and the 22nd of August of 2026. In this video, we can see the Russians attacking the capital of Ukraine with Iskander missiles at almost 12 a.m. of the 22nd of August of 2026. The sources reported that during the overnight attack, the Russians used up to 7 Iskander missiles. When this attack ended, the Russians had a small operational pause, and some were up probably in 10 hours, somewhere around at 10 or 11 a.m. of the 22nd of August of 2026, the Russians carried out another strike through the Kyiv agglomeration. This time, during the second attack, the Russians were attacking the northern parts of the city of Boryspil, more precisely this parking site. As a result of the previous 24 hours, first of all, the Russians wiped out the Locomotive depot. So we are talking about Darnytsia railway depot, and this is the video that was published this morning, and here we can see the results of the overnight attack. As you can see, a fire broke out right after the Russians attacked the territory, and we have lots of pictures where we can see locomotives that were destroyed as a result of the overnight attack. So this picture were made this morning. Here we can see the consequences of attack. As you can see, the Ukrainians suffered huge losses when talking about the Locomotive depot and these assets. During the second wave of attack, the Russians attacked the northern parts of the city of Boryspil, once again, this parking site. And here we have pictures published from this area, and in these pictures we can see trucks. Russian Iskander-M missile strike hit Boryspil warehouse. Images leaked by Ukrainian media reveal that the target of today's Russian Iskander ballistic missile strike on the Boryspil area of Kyiv Oblast was a warehouse facility containing trucks used by Ukrainian Special Operations Forces to launch FP2 mid-range drones. So as you can see in this picture, we can see a truck, and here we can see a special equipment that was installed found on this track that the Ukrainians were using to launch drones. So most likely the Ukrainians were planning to use these tracks to attack deep inside of the territory of Russia, maybe even on the nights of the Independence Day, who knows, but the Russians managed to discover position of these tracks and to destroy them. Later we received the report that there were up to 40 tracks on the territory of this parking site, and they were completely wiped out by Russians. So obviously that attack was very powerful from the Russian side. Furthermore, we continue receiving updates about warehouses and ammo depots in this area. Most likely the Russians were hunting these trucks, these 40 trucks, because during the previous 24 hours the Russians destroyed or damaged almost every single big warehouse in this area with the purpose to find these vehicles and to destroy them. And they found them today and they destroyed them today. So this is the situation with the Russian attacks. As we can see, the city of Kyiv, the Russians continue bombing the city of Kyiv, and the most important thing, what the Russians are going to do during the next day, during the 23rd of August and during the 24th of August, and what the Ukrainians are going to do during the same period of time, because obviously we understand the Ukrainians will receive their human shield, and the human shield will be dozens of politicals, of leaders of the European countries, and whether the Ukrainians are going to use this situation to attack deep inside of the territory of Russia or not, and whether the Russians are going to respond or not if the Ukrainians do this. Now let's move further. During the previous 24 hours, the Russians also attacked the city of Odesa and the Odesa infrastructure. This attack took place during the day, during the 22nd of August of 2026, and here we can see approximate flight path of targets, air vehicles, during a combined attack on the city of Chernomorsk in Odesa Oblast on August 22 of 2026. The attack took place between 2 p.m. and 3 p.m. According to the realization, approximately 12 Banderol small cruise missiles were used, approximately 12 FAB bombs. This is a very important situation. The Russians, as you can see, intensify the use of FAB bombs to attack the Odesa region, which means that most likely the Russians would destroy every single object of infrastructure in this area, and the Russians used up to 10 reconnaissance drones. So as you can see, that was a very powerful attack, and as a result of this attack, facilities were damaged. But as of the end of the 22nd of August of 2026, we haven't received visual confirmations of what exactly the Russians were attacking, but we believe that we will receive them in coming hours, and maybe tomorrow we will discuss this attack once again in more details. Now let's move further and let's discuss the situation on the ground. During the previous 12 hours, the map, during the previous 24 hours, the map was adjusted. Now let's talk about the most important changes. And the most important changes are coming from the Slaviansk direction. Today, several neutral mappers reported that the defenses of the armed forces of Ukraine through the village of Nikolaevka were collapsed. The Russians managed to break through this defense layer, and the Russians began infiltration the city of Nikolaevka itself. Furthermore, according to these changes, we see that first sabotage and reconnaissance groups of the armed forces of the Russian Federation were recorded through the eastern parts of the Nikolaevka citadel. We're talking about this multi-story quarter, a block of the city. The Russians infiltrated inside of the Slaviansk power station. There are lots of Russian soldiers in this area as well, and if the situation continues developing the same way, obviously we can say that before the end of August of 2026 the Russians will improve their position significantly, and there are very high chances that maybe even the Minister of Defense of the Russian Federation will confirm this information. So these are the changes on the ground between the days. This is the end of the 21st and this is the end of the 22nd of August of 2026. Furthermore, we continue receiving updates from the area of the city of Dobropillia. Today, several military experts reported that it seems like the defense of Dobropillia is fully collapsing. So we have this picture, for example, and here we have fires detected in Dobropillia over past week. Dobropillia fires detected in the past 7 days, mostly Russian glide bombs and artillery shelling. As you can see, almost every single square meter of the city of Dobropillia was bombed by Russians. We have very big fire anomalies, especially especially through the southern parts of the settlement. Once again, the Dobropillia defenses probably have collapsed completely, and most likely during the next 20 days we'll see first updates about the Russian progress on the ground, and we will adjust the map significantly. So probably it's just a matter of days, a matter of time, when the city of Dobropillia will be captured by the Russians completely. Meanwhile, the Russians shift their focus further to the next villages of the city of Dobropillia, trying to attack temporary deployment points, headquarters, and bases of FPV drone operators. And once again, if the city of Dobropillia falls, the Russians enter the operational space of the Dnipro region, Dnipropetrovsk region, and it's very difficult to understand where exactly the Ukrainians are going to stop the Russians, probably between the settlements of Pavlograd and Lazov, and most likely the Russians would be able to get this black line much faster than anyone can expect. Now let's talk about the northern directions. These days we start receiving lots of updates. Today, more precise, today we received additional updates from this area. According to different sources, the Russians improved their positions through the eastern Prikolotny direction. The Russians improved their positions around the village of Berezniki, most likely in coming days we'll receive updates about this situation. The Russians began advancing towards the villages of Lobanka and Grachivka, and the Russians continue clashes for the villages of Dovzhanka and Verkhovatka. So the northeastern pocket is collapsing, and most likely also within the next 20 days the map would be adjusted significantly, and lots of territories from this pocket most likely would be colored in Russian favor. As for the Kharkiv direction, during the previous 24 hours, the Russians improved their positions, and the most important thing is that the Russians crossed the river of Lopan and began advancing through the western part of the city of Kazachya Lopan from the north, which means that the Ukrainian defense has also collapsed in this area, and most likely it's just also a matter of time when the Russians finish the battle for this territory and force the Ukrainians to fall back. In coming 20 days, we may see a report published by the Minister of Defense of the Russian Federation as well. As for the most northern directions, during the previous 24 hours, nothing special was recorded. And that's it for today. The Military Summary channel remains to condemn any violence in the world. Thank you for your watching. Subscribe to my channel, put your likes, join my Patreon, and have a good day. Bye-bye.